Today on the Athlete's Mindset, I'm joined by Hunter Breault, a right-handed pitcher in the Athletics organization. A 2021 MLB draft pick, Hunter has built a reputation for his competitiveness, consistency, and ability to thrive under pressure on the mound. We dive into what it takes to handle the mental grind of a long minor league season, how to stay sharp and composed during high leverage situations, and the physical and mental preparation that goes into being a successful closer. Hunter also shares how his experiences, both the ups and downs, have shaped his mindset as a professional athlete and what he's learned about performing in professional baseball. This is going to be a great conversation. Let's get into it. Hunter, welcome to the podcast. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. You're the first closer that I've had on the podcast so far, so I'm excited to get into that. But before that, I want to start a little bit back in your career. Growing up in Hawaii, and you end up at the University of Oregon. How did that come up? And then just what was that experience like?
Yeah, it's tough to get kind of looks from colleges and professional teams living out there. There's not a lot of opportunities, not a lot of scouts go out there and just they can't really make that connection with you as often as if you're like a California, Oregon guy, especially say like an East Coast team going out to Hawaii. Like they make that trip maybe once every other year for someone really, really talented, really like highly sought after. So it was tough. Luckily, I had the opportunity to go to a lot of different showcases, the Arizona Fall Classic being one of them, area code games. And I went into the area code games actually undrafted. And that's when Coach Jay Ullman was there and Coach George Horton was, they were at the area code games. They saw me, they contacted me the Monday after, and they wanted to come get me up here for an official visit. And 2 weeks later, I was here for an official visit, and I think I signed the Monday after. I came to Oregon. That was the second school I saw, and I seen enough. I was like, I'm ready to commit on the spot.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like Oregon, I went on a visit there as well as at the time that you were there. And it's unreal just what they have. And Horton was the coach at the time when I went on my visit. Just unbelievable guy, great coach.
Yep.
What was your development like there? I mean, going in as a freshman, I went state to state. You had to jump over the Pacific to get here. What was that experience like? And just how was your development there?
It was a difficult transition period going from I guess, big fish in a small pond to small fish in a big pond, as Dietz would always say. And also going from the transition from a starter in high school to now a reliever out of the bullpen, whereas like I was a long relief guy my first year in college.
Mhm.
And that, like the preparation, like you said, it's a little different knowing you're going to pitch versus just thinking, okay, I got to be ready to pitch. And then when that situation of you not pitching in kind of gets passed up, like I was a fifth, sixth, seventh inning guy. Once that's done, it's like, all right, maybe I gotta stay ready for extra innings just in case, who knows how long this game's gonna go. And that's where Dietz kind of really started to cement the mental game in all of us. Like we all needed to just be as strong mentally as we could be in every situation, in every scenario. And he prepared us like that in practice. He was tough. He was tough on us for sure, but
Mhm.
it was for the better. I mean, we did a lot of we learned how to not walk guys on four pitches. We would run a lot whenever that happened in a game. So he prepared us mentally to be pitching in the Pac-12 better than any coach I think could have possibly done.
Yeah, I have a few like good Deet stories, just him blowing up pitchers because they were
Yep.
walking guys on four pitches, or he always preached just, first two out of three pitches should be strikes,
Yeah,
get to that one,
because
two
it's a
count.
it's a mental mistake. Like
Mhm.
making, walking a dude on four pitches, that's just not making an adjustment. And
Right.
I still like, yeah, it slips my mind and it happens from time to time, when you walk a guy on a, 4 or 5 pitch at bat, you're like, come on, dude, lock in. Like,
Mhm.
just focus up, make one adjustment, and that doesn't happen. And you're
Yeah.
just giving a guy a free base.
What are those quick little kind of tips you tell yourself? Let's say you even get to like a 2-0 count. And you're just thinking to yourself, like, how do I reset just really quickly? Because you don't have time to just, especially
Yeah.
with the pitch clock now, you got to lock in. What are those little
Yeah.
tips that you just tell yourself?
Well, one little reminder I kind of give myself. I started doing this about 2 to 3 months into this season. Uh, Hitting is hard. Hitting is the hardest thing to do in all of sports. So when I'd fall behind 2-0, 3-1, or even like a long at bat where it's just 3-2 and he's fouling everything off, I'd be like, man, screw it. Heater, line it up middle, and pray for the best. Don't overthrow it. Just throw it middle. Try to go middle down or middle up. And like if you miss, you miss. And like the worst thing that happened when I started doing that was I gave up a single to left field to a right-handed hitter. It was like it's a pull side single to the six hole. Sure, like on a 3-2 count, nobody on, 2 outs. It's better than a walk in my book.
Yeah. I mean, even as a hitter, there'd be times where I was struggling. You could even tell like the pitcher's struggling to find the strike zone or be consistent. But I was struggling. And so it was like, even if he does throw a pitch right down the middle, it doesn't guarantee that I'm going to have success. And I think a lot of pitchers struggle with that is they think they have to be perfect so often.
Yeah.
And that is just not the case.
And a lot of the time when you give up a hit on a really good pitch that say it was like an 0-2 slider down just underneath the strike zone, you give up a hit on that. It's like, okay, it really hurts because you're like, damn, I had that guy. He got lucky or he put a good swing on it and it was just a really good, piece of hitting by him. Doesn't mean the next guy is going to be able to do that. It doesn't mean the next guy's you can't just throw him a fastball middle and he just rolls it over to the shortstop for a double play. Pitchers kind of get into a tendency of like, oh, just give up a hit. I don't want to give up another hit. And so they start like kind of nibbling, picking here and there, trying to like really put everything exactly where they want it to. And then they miss, then they get mad, then they try to go the other way and then they miss that way. And then that's how like it kind of spirals on pitchers. And my whole thing was like, just forget about all that and get back to just throwing first pitch strikes and pounding the strike zone. If I throw a ball, the next pitch, I don't care. It's just got to be a strike. We're just throwing a strike. We're not trying to do anything crazy with a slider or a curveball, splitter, fastball. Just put it somewhere down in the zone. And more times than not, you're going to get a good result.
Yeah. I mean, you can see the confidence too in pitchers who aren't afraid to just challenge hitters like you're talking
Yeah.
about. You can
Yeah.
easily see a pitcher who maybe goes down in the count and he's just trying to baby it in there or he's overthrowing it, trying to do too much. How do you kind of combat that or just like stay simple with it in those high pressure moments?
Yeah. I'd say body language is probably a good like indicator as a hitter, right? I mean, am I like way too far off there? I feel like when you throw a bad pitch and it's a bad pitch, and you kind of put your head down and you throw like you're like, come on, man. You just like that, like if you can eliminate that, you throw a fastball up at the dude's head instead of going like, oh, man, if you just walk up to him and be like, yeah, I just threw
I
that.
meant to
I
do
threw
that.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I meant to throw 97 right past your ear hole, buddy.
Yeah.
Get back in the box. You got 16 seconds. Let's go. It's a little different than seeing the guy go, oh, man, like I have no idea where it's going. Like dude's got no confidence out there on the mound versus the guy that's like, yeah, I just threw 97 at your head and I'll do it again right now. Get back in there. I just feel like that's where Dietz kind of honed in on like mental game, where it's just like, don't be afraid when you're on the mound and don't look like you're afraid. Look like you're there to attack hitters no matter what. No matter what the last pitch was, this next pitch, I'm coming at you with my best pitch.
Yeah, I mean, even just playing with Dietz or playing under Dietz and just some of the pitchers that he developed, guys that didn't have much confidence and then struggled, ended up being guys that were getting drafted 2 or 3 years later. What was that kind of draft experience like and all those kind of tips that you took from Dietz? When did it really hit you that you were a professional baseball player?
I think oh man, when did it hit me? I was a professional baseball player. Probably my first spring training, I think. Because that first year you get drafted, you show up to the complex, and at that point in the season, it's a little late in the season, and they just need bodies to fill. So they sent me out to low A, and I was all excited. I'm like pitching against professional hitters, and I'm like, oh, this is awesome. Like, this guy's a first rounder. This guy on my team's a first rounder, and we're like, all young and just excited to play baseball. And then your first spring training, you get there, and you're like, hey, where were all those guys that I just played with last year? It's like, oh yeah, they just got released at the end of the season. I'm like, oh, dude, yeah, this is a business. Like, it's like I've seen guys get released at the end of spring training, like 2 weeks into the season. at the All-Star break, at the end of the season. So kind of every time that cycle, it like that draft comes through, you're like, all right, got to put myself in a good position here to be moving up, not to be moving back down or getting
Mhm.
released. And these kind of prepared us for that, being like, hey, because if you didn't pitch well on the weekends and
Mhm.
you got bumped, you got like if you were the closer on the weekend and you blew two saves, then you got bumped to the setup guy role. If you didn't
Mhm.
pitch well there, then you got moved completely off the weekend. Now you're pitching midweek games.
Mhm.
And it was like, you got to perform and you got to keep performing, or else I'm going to find somebody that does. And that's exactly what professional baseball is.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one thing a lot of athletes struggle with, though, is for good reason. You have to perform if you want to play or continue to build your way up in college, and then especially in pro ball. How do you kind of deal with that, like just mental pressure of I have to perform in order to keep my job?
I try not to think about it. It's
Mhm.
easier said than done, but there's times where you're looking at your stats and you're like, oh man, I'm having a good start. It's one of those years like, I'm having a good start. I know this is around the time when they start doing these promotions, moving guys up, and I'm at that, I got the best ERA in my team, or
Mhm.
man, I'm like really struggling, and that that's the time of the year where they start releasing guys or sending guys down, and like none of that is in your control. You just got to
Mhm.
kind of completely forget about all that. I've fell victim to it a lot of times early in my career, and I'm still trying to fight it right now. Like,
Mhm.
just all you can control is how you prepare for the next game that you have to pitch in, and how you can prepare to throw the next pitch. Like, it's a cliche in baseball, but it's the only thing that I've found that really helps prepare you to have success day in, day out, like week by week, by month, by season. Just throw the next pitch. That's all you can do.
Yeah. I've spoken with so many guys on this podcast or just in general, and the time that their game just kind of accelerated was when they almost just stopped caring. Is
Yeah,
you didn't think everything was life or death. You weren't thinking about the past mistake or trying not to fail. And more just like, all right, I'm going to go succeed. One of my favorite quotes is, the fear of failure isn't going to make things go right. I mean, the fear of something going wrong isn't going to make it go right. And
yeah.
I think that's something you just have to have, especially as a pitcher in professional baseball.
Correct. Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with that. I mean, I've seen some of the best hitters I've seen that I've played with. They're the guys that are like just nonchalantly going about their business. They come in, yeah, they'll get their lift in, they'll get their hitting done. But like prior to the games, they're just having fun. We're just like hanging
Mhm.
out, playing cards. They're just like kind of shooting shit with each other and just having a good time just happy to be at the field, not worrying about when am I getting moved up. Those guys that like just always like, wow, when am I getting moved up? Why is he getting moved up? Why am I not moving? Those dudes are the guys that kind of get phased out of baseball pretty quickly.
Yeah. Going along with this topic of just showing up to the field, it's a long minor league season. How do you kind of just handle the long season and just staying positive and mentally prepared throughout that whole time?
I think having a routine is a really good way of like, okay, I got to show up to the field by this time. I like to be like one of the first guys to the field, not because like I really do anything. I just like show up. I'll get in the tubs, like I'll go hang out hot tub, cold tub, and just shoot the shit with my athletic
Mhm.
trainer, Noah Huff, and we'll just like kind of be talking or not talking. Sometimes we're just like we'll sit there and like that 30 minutes before anybody gets into the clubhouse, we're just like this is the most peaceful that it is all day, because as
Mhm.
soon as people start showing up, it's screaming, yelling, music's playing, and you're just like constantly on the move, and you always got something to do. So just kind of getting there and just like being present at the field
Mhm.
and just kind of relaxing, getting your body moving around slowly before you have to really do anything. I've seen a lot of guys show up to the field and just take their shoes off and then just go walk in the grass, and they'll
Mhm.
FaceTime people or just listen to music, kind of like stretch outside in the sun, like
Mhm.
like doing the whole grounding thing out there. I've seen a lot of people do that, and that's a good way of like, yeah, you're at the field, but you have a routine to get your body and your mind ready before we even go into our stretch or anything like that. And so having something where you just do every day, either when you get home or before you get to the field or when you get to the field, You just know that, like, okay, I have to do this so that I can get ready for the game.
Mhm.
All right, I got to do this before I go to sleep so I can get ready for the game tomorrow. Like, and then once you get that thing done, you just know that you're prepared already.
Mhm.
Everything else just falls into place.
Yeah. I mean, I think having a routine is something that you've probably always done, but in college, you're kind of just with the team. You do everything with guys, with the
Yeah,
whole team. You stretch together. It's BP all together.
yeah.
Um, what are some other kind of differences that you've noticed in the game and your preparation and from college baseball to professional baseball?
I'd say college baseball, every game matters. Like every game, you're competing for a national championship. In minor league baseball, I'm not saying nobody cares about the Midwest League Championship, but you're trying to get moved up to Double A. You're not in High A because you're trying to win the Midwest League Championship, even though when being in that playoff run and trying to like clinch the playoffs was this year was the most fun I've had playing baseball in a long time. But ultimately, the goal is to get to the big leagues, and you're just trying to do your best so that you can move. And if in turn you end up winning a lot of games in the process, good. That's awesome. But college baseball, I'd say, other than October in the big leagues, was the last. I, George Horton told us this, and it's stuck with me, and it rings true every year. College baseball is the last time you play competitive baseball until you're in the big leagues in October.
Mhm.
And I haven't seen it in pro ball yet, where I'm like, man, we're really trying to win games. Like
Mhm.
you're just, you show up, save situation comes, you get your number called, you go out there, you get the save, you get the win for your team. It's all fun and games. You show up the next day, nobody remembers what just happened.
Mhm.
You get a walk off. I've seen guys hit walk off grand slams, show up the next day at the field. Nobody cares. All right, do your
Mhm.
job again today. In college, it's like every game, you like every pitch, you're hanging on by the edge of your, edge of your seat, just watching, living and dying with every pitch. And in Major League Baseball, there's pros and cons to that too. In Major League Baseball or minor league baseball, it's you have a bad game, so what? You're gonna throw again
Mhm.
in like, either the next day or 2 days later. So you just got to be ready. Like in college, you've had probably the same experience where I have, where you have a bad weekend or something, and then maybe you don't start the next weekend. Maybe you
Mhm.
don't pitch the next weekend. It's like you pitch bad in college, you don't know when you're going to pitch again. But in
Mhm.
in professional baseball, you have a bad outing, forget about it. You're going to be on the mound in 2 days. So
Yeah, I remember you've met Max, but I was talking to Max about this, and he was like, "Dude, there's no such thing as like a slump really in minor league baseball." Because he's like, in college baseball, you have a bad weekend, you would call that a slump. Like if you have a 3 game series, you don't get a hit. And pro ball, he's like, if I have like 3 games in a row where I don't get a hit, I'm like, all right, I have 150 plus more. And
yeah,
so you kind of just have to flush it really quick and just get over it. How do you kind of handle that of just flushing? Maybe it's a bad outing, or you give a big hit in a big situation. How do you just kind of get over that?
I mean, show up to the field the next day, and it's pretty easy to forget about. Like by the time the next game starts, you're not even thinking about it anymore. Like you just show up to the field the next day. All right, you watch a video, you say, okay, I should have done this. I should have done this. I'm going to work on these things today to try to get better. I'm going to implement them. And that's the cool thing about minor league baseball. You work on something, you implement it the next day. There's no,
Mhm.
oh, let me throw a bullpen as a reliever. As starters, I know they throw two
Mhm.
sides a week before, like, prior to their next start. So they get to work on stuff before their next start. Relievers, closers, yeah, I'm going to work on this today in catch play. I'm going to throw this pitch in this game. I'm going to start pitching like that immediately and see if it works. And making those adjustments when things are going bad are almost as important as making the adjustments when things are going well.
Mhm.
I had a pitching coach once tell me, "You better make adjustments," because I was pitching really well 2 months into the season. He said, "Hey, you better start making adjustments before other people start making adjustments on you." So instead of pitching in early in the count, go away and then work back in, start pitching backwards to guys, because they're going to start jumping on heaters when they see that you have 80% first pitch fastballs.
Mhm.
That's not going to work forever. You got to make an adjustment. It worked for the first 2 months. Good for you. You got to switch it up now. And
Yeah, I mean,
it's a daily kind of routine change.
Yeah, I wish I could have experienced the pitching side just a little bit more because even just at Portland before practice, we'd have pitchers in the bullpen. I mean, our two, starters that ended up getting drafted, one to the Marlins, one to the A's, and they'd be working on stuff. And I'm like, you guys just like threw 7 scoreless innings this past
Yeah.
weekend and you're still working on it. But I think that's just what you have to do if you want to be successful because everyone wants to throw 100. I mean, you're throwing 97 plus, but you're not at 100. And so you're like, there's so much more that you can work on and get to.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'd say even for starters, I can't really speak to what it's like being a starter in professional baseball, but like I know that our hitters watch video of the last I think it's the last two or the last three starts. They put all the video, all the pitches, every at bat from the whatever starter we're facing from his last three starts. And in your last three starts, if you're a 75% fastball and you know that, and you're like, okay, I'm going to switch it up today and I'm going to be like 50% first pitch fastball or whatever, and just kind of mix things up and just kind of knowing yourself, knowing what's working for you, but then like you have to work on that in your bullpens, in your catch play before you can implement it. And so whether you're doing, I guess, really good or really bad, or you've had like a slump pitching wise, which I've been in those situations where you just have a really bad month where just
Mhm.
nothing's going well. You have like a 9 ERA for the month. You just every outing you're going up there giving up hits, walking guys. And in those moments it's a little bit tougher
Mhm.
to just be like, all right, I gotta turn around. Today's gonna be the day. Today's gonna be the day. And you just gotta trust the process of what you're doing and to know that the work I'm putting in my catch play, in my pregame routine, and the approach that I'm going to be taking today when I get on the mound, just got to know that eventually something's going to click and you're going to figure it out again.
Yeah, I mean that's the same thing with hitting. Is every strikeout you're closer to your next hit,
Yeah.
and it's not going to last forever. It feels like it's going to last forever. I bet it's the same for pitching. Is when you are struggling, you're like, this is just how
Yeah.
it is. I'm never going to
Yeah.
strike a guy out again.
Yeah.
Um,
I've been there, and you get out of it. You just do. Like
mhm.
if you make the right adjustments, eventually you find a way. And that's the beautiful thing about baseball. Whether you're having success or whether you're constantly failing, you can always learn from it. You can always learn from every pitch you throw, every hit you get, every time you strike a guy out. Every time you strike out as a hitter, you learn what that pitcher has. And the next time you face him, you know what it looks like already.
100%. I want to talk about the closing role and just what that is like because that's a lot of pressure and a lot of guys can't handle it. And we've seen even in professional baseball, there's guys that still struggle in that closing role. Before we get into the mental side of it, what does your just routine look like warming up before you get into the game?
It starts probably in the sixth or seventh inning. It depends on, the situation of like, are we are we up by like, three or more runs? Are we down by less than three runs? Like how close of a game is it? And are we going to like, keep it this way? And you can't predict that. So as soon as you see like if we're getting if we're getting blown out by 10 or more, or we're crushing them by 10 or more, and you just know you're not going in, then you just kind of sit back and take over the walkie talkie or take over the chart or something like that and just kind of kick back. But if you know, hey, there's even like a small percent chance that I'm going to be going into this game, then I got to start stretching. I got to do my bands. I got to put on more atomic balm or red hot, depending on how hot it is. I got to take my ibuprofen right now, and maybe take another scoop of C4, just put it in there right now, just get it ready. And like it's it sounds crazy, but yeah, like this is especially in the beginning of the season when you're playing in somewhere that's really cold, you got to put that atomic bomb on like
Mhm.
3 or 4 innings beforehand so that you can just like literally just warm your body up and just start moving around. You just look like a weirdo just walking around or doing lunges or stretching for like 3 whole innings prior to pitching. And then you do your bands. And if you're a weighted ball guy, you do weighted balls. I'm not a huge weighted ball guy, but I'll just move my arm around after doing my bands if I think there's even a small percent chance that they'll say, because it can, I've seen it where it's, hey, get him going. And then they radio down again. Okay, hey, sit him down. And then there's a miscommunication. They didn't tell They didn't tell the guy to get back up, and then he went again. He went in the game from having sat down on the bench,
Mhm.
and he threw 2 pitches in the bullpen, and he had to go back in the game. And like you just never know when your name's going to get called, so you just got to be ready. And sometimes, yeah, you get as little as 5 warm up pitches. Sometimes the inning drags on, and you're on offense for what seems like an hour, and you're throwing 45 warm up pitches
Mhm.
because you're going every other pitch with the guy that's on the mound. But that dude just is having a really tough day, and he can't get
Yeah.
out of the eighth inning. I've had those days before where those are like, it's just, you're, come on, dude. I'm ready to get in the game right now.
Can
And
you
your
get an out
offense,
so I can go in? Yeah.
yeah, you're just like, come on, dude. Like, offense. You guys didn't put up a run all game. Now you guys want to put up 7 runs in the eighth
Yeah.
inning? Like, what are we doing? And those, I'd say those are even tougher because you have more time to think. The more
Mhm.
time that I have up here to get ready for the next hitter, like the more chances I have to be like, okay, what am I going to throw? What does this look like right now? I have more time to tweak something.
Mhm.
If it's just like get hot, oh shit, 2 outs, you're in the game, then it's like, all right, man, we're going to battle with what we got right now. We may not know what it looks like, but we're going to find out here real soon.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's so nice too. Even like as a hitter, when you get a pinch hit opportunity and you're pretty much just sitting on the bench, you're cold, and they're like, hey, Tristan, grab a bat, you're up. In your head,
Yeah.
you're like, I have not prepared whatsoever, but I haven't thought about it. So I get in the box, and next thing you know, the
Yeah.
guy throws me a fastball, and that's all I'm looking for. And you
Yep.
get a hit. So it's kind of just that, no brain, no think. You just go and do
Mm,
it. But when it comes to the brain, when you're jogging from the bullpen to the mound to close a game out, what's going through your head then?
Um, well, usually as I'm running into the game, I look at the scoreboard because
Mhm.
even though I'm watching the game, kind of like I need to know the situation. I'm like, all right, we got, we're up by 1, 2, it's tied, whatever it might be, and I'm just like, all right, lock in, know the situation. Sometimes it's in the middle of an inning. Sometimes you get a clean inning, and I just need to know what's going on, who's up to bat before I even start throwing a warm up pitch. I need to know, are they throwing a pinch hitter right now, or is it the same lefty, righty? And I kind of break it down from that standpoint and just start going through my routine, throwing my 2 fastballs, 2 splitters, 2 curveballs, a slider, and then another heater just to feel good again. Finish the last 4 out of like a slide step in the stretch. And that's usually about my depends on how far the bullpen is too from the
Mhm.
game out, but
Yeah.
that's usually those 8 pitches is usually the 2 minutes that they give you in between innings, or if you're in the middle of an inning, then they let you go for however long you like. But kind of knowing that time too, like that's another thing when we show up in a new field and the bullpen's just a mile away, you're like, all right, this might be depending on how fast you jog into the game, could be a 4 warm up pitch day out there.
Mhm.
So if you're a fast jogger, you can get 5 or 6 out there.
Yeah, I never even thought about that because I mean, baseball now you're on the clock. You got to get going and you
Yeah.
got to settle in as soon as possible. So you get on the mound and guy steps into the box. What's your kind of thought process then?
First pitch, just first pitch strike. Doesn't matter what it is. We're going first pitch strike, especially if we're up by 2, 3 runs. If he hits a solo bomb right now, who cares? Next hitter. Like we got,
Mhm.
you know, last thing you want to do is fall behind 1-0 and then be cute with the second pitch, fall behind 2-0. Now you're in a hitter's count. Maybe he hits a double in the gap. Now you have the tying run at the plate with a runner in scoring position with less than 2 outs. You're just like, all right, now is he going to be picking signs, this and that? Do we have
Mhm.
to change the sign signal after like 1 or 2 hitters just in case they get it? Like you think about a lot of those things, and you can eliminate a lot of that thinking by just getting the first guy out
Mhm.
and then getting the second guy out. And the best way to do that, I've found, throwing first pitch strikes,
Mhm.
winning your 1-1 counts, getting in leverage counts for yourself. Because when that hitter's behind in the count and they're losing the game by 1 or 2 runs, and they're trying to be the hero, they're trying to protect, and they're not having like free swinging, free thinking at bats where they're just like, oh, I'm just gonna sit back and wait for a fastball. They're like, no, now it's 2 strikes.
Mhm.
Now I know that I got to protect against the splitter. I'm thinking he might go heater up. Maybe it's a curveball in the dirt versus 2-0, up by 5. They're just like, yeah, I'm here to get my hacks off. So
Mhm.
it's about making the hitter uncomfortable and just the best way to do that is putting him in uncomfortable situations behind an account where he has to start protecting.
Yeah. I mean, along with the hitter being uncomfortable once they get down in the count just like that, you also get more comfortable and you just know the ball's in your court, you're in
Yeah.
control. And then it also just opens up your arsenal is all right, you've just seen a fastball that I painted
Hmm.
on the inside corner, outside corner. I'm already up 0-1. And now I can throw you whatever I want. And you're the guy that's playing defense in the box. Do you ever think about those kind of things when you just have that leverage in those counts?
Yeah, absolutely. Like you think, okay, we went away first with a fastball, 0-1. Do we want to go back in? 0-1's a great time to go heater in. If you miss, you just brush him off the plate. You can land a slider for, on the 1-1 count to make it 1-2. Go curveball off of that, maybe heater back away, or double up on heater in if you're really confident that you can actually get a heater in there. And it, like, especially in that ninth inning where you're just a one inning guy scenario, if you wanted to, you could unload the whole arsenal. You don't
Mhm.
have to, but if you have 3 or 4 pitches and you want to throw 3 or 4 pitches, knowing you're only going to face 3 or 4 hitters, like go ahead and do it. Like, you know, you might see them again in 2, 3 weeks or, 2, 3 days, depending on where in the series you guys are at. But it's not like you're a starter and you have to worry about turning over a lineup. So if you really wanted to, you can go. I've done it before where I go curveball, slider, heater, like a slide step fastball up. And he was pissed. He actually like walked out of the box yelling at me. And I'm like, dude, I'm sorry, but that was nasty.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things is I mean, even as a hitter, I tried not to do this, but when a pitcher is just mixing it up, going everywhere, throwing 3, 4 different pitches, and then a guy comes back to the dugout and he's like, "Don't throw me a fastball." And it's like, he didn't need to. Like, he didn't
Yeah.
even need to throw you a fastball. He can throw you whatever he wants. It's your
Yeah.
job to hit it.
You see a guy buckle on a curveball, and then you throw another curveball and he swings out of his shoes,
Mhm,
and then you just bounce one and he swings again. And it's like, that wasn't my fault. You showed me that you couldn't hit it, so I'd
mhm,
be stupid not to keep throwing it. Don't,
mhm,
don't start swearing at me for it. Like, learn how to hit the curveball. And the other way too, like if the dude can't throw a fastball in the strike zone, don't be, showing up umpires when you're not getting calls because you're not
mhm.
filling up the strike zone. I've been a victim of that too, but like I'll be, looking at umpires kind of staring them down for a little bit. At the same time, like hit your spots, throw
Yeah.
strikes.
Yeah. I mean, that kind of leads me to my next topic of just how do you define success for yourself? I mean, I know you could go 3 up, 3 down, get 3 outs, but you threw terrible pitches. They were all 100-mile-an-hours off the bat and just got caught. How do you define success?
Um, Being a reliever, like all I really determine as success for me is just putting up zeros. I don't
Mhm,
care how I put the zero on the scoreboard. If I put up a zero that day, doesn't matter if I threw one pitch to one batter, came and cleaned up the inning, got a zero, and that was my only pitch I threw that day. Or if I threw 30 pitches, loaded the bases, and struck out 3 dudes. I've done both of those things, and
mhm.
I'm like equally successful day for me.
Yeah.
3 walks, 3 strikeouts, zero on the board, or one pitch and a flyout, zero on the board. Both equally successful days for me. Like that's all I care about is just doing my job, and that may not be how teams look at you as how they want to promote you.
Mhm,
But just for me to be like, okay, I did my job today. I put up a zero. I can build off of that. Now, because there's always something you're going to need to work on. But just like looking back at that, I'm like, hey, where did I do well today? If I did that, I did something well.
mhm,
Like you can't just go out there and pitch in professional baseball, throw up zeros by pitching terribly. Like
mhm,
you had to have done something good. So if you give up a hit or if you give up like a few runs, all right, what else do I need to work on? I still could have done some good things, but it wasn't in my mind perfect. Like I still could have pitched better when I had runners in scoring position. And there's just something that I need to work on that's just missing from my game right now. So
Yeah, I think that goes well with what you were talking about earlier is even when you're doing well, you have to make adjustments. So you can go, 3 up, 3 down, walk the bases low to get 3 strikeouts in a row. And it's not exactly how you wanted to pitch if you walked a few guys, but you did your job. And then you can just next day say, all right, I was doing
Yeah.
this, I can work on this and get better. So you can almost be more efficient with those
Yes.
3 outs that you need to get.
Yes. Yeah. Because the 3 walks, 3 strikeouts, 30 pitches, that's not sustainable. It
Mhm.
was good for that day if you threw up 0, but it's not going to be sustainable in the long run. All right, let's eliminate those walks. How do we eliminate those walks? Do we need to get ahead better? Do we need to throw better pitches when we are ahead? I fell into, like that you throw a waste pitch 0-2. I don't believe that anymore. I used to think, okay, I can spike a curveball here. It doesn't need to be considered a waste pitch. You can throw it in the strike zone.
Mhm.
If it's a good enough curveball, if it's nasty enough and it's gonna break, and if you set it up well by going heater up and in that he swung and missed at, you can throw that breaking ball in the zone. If he doesn't swing, it's strike 3. If he does, what are the
You're
chances
not
that he
touching
hits it
it.
hard? Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like 0-2 doesn't need to be a strikeout pitch. Like any weak contact, I'd say on an 0-2 pitch is a win for me. Whether you gave up a hit or not, like, all right, bloop single on an 0-2 curveball just under the zone. Good pitch, better piece of hitting. That's
Yeah.
baseball.
100%. Today's episode is brought to you by Relight Hydration, my go-to for staying fueled and refreshed. As a former athlete, I know how important it is to stay hydrated. And Relight makes it simple with clean ingredients and essential electrolytes. My 2 favorite flavors, lemon lime for that crisp, classic kick, and mixed berry when I want something a little sweeter. Whether it's before a workout, during a long day, or after training, Relight keeps me going. You can try it yourself and get 15% off with my code Athletes Mindset at checkout. That's Athletes Mindset for 15% off at Relight. Stay sharp, stay hydrated. So you get the save, you close it out, you get your 3 outs. What's your just post-game recovery routine look like?
So we usually have an arm care schedule for day of. Like if you threw that day, then you got to do like certain things for arm care, and that's determined by our athletic trainer. Sometimes there's also like a lift that you have to do. You can also schedule this with your strength coach beforehand if you want to lift after you throw. A lot of guys want to lift after they throw. I personally don't care. I go into every game assuming I'm not going to pitch so that I can do something to get better that day. So I'll lift before the game. If I pitch, great. If I'm tired while I'm pitching or if I'm sore while I'm pitching, that's baseball. You got 132 of these things. You're not going to feel great every day. But after you throw, you got an arm care routine that's usually like 4 or 5 exercises that you got to do. Sometimes I'll hop in the cold tub, hot tub. The real recovery for me is the next day. I show up to the field a little early. I'll do my cupping. I'll do like lat and like T-spine cupping. Usually after the first time I throw during the week, so like on a Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. And then if I throw on the weekend and it's just the second day, my second day, so I'll just do like a deep tissue the next day after the second time I throw. And if I throw 3 times in a week, then I'm just, you got that
Exhausted.
off. Yeah, you got that off day coming up soon. Just wear it and you'll be good. But
Yeah. What are some things that you think, let's say pitchers specifically in pro ball maybe struggle with, or the guys that don't see much success? What are things that, whether it's physically recovery or on the mental side, what are just some things you see guys struggle with?
from a physical standpoint, I'd say it's that like it's the wear and tear of a long season. You don't see a lot of injuries coming from the wear and tear, but you see it affect their game. I'd say most injuries I've seen in professional baseball are just a crazy, like, anomaly injury, which sounds weird that I'd say most injuries are anomalies, but like guys, like elbow pops, or he's got like bone spurts in his elbow or his shoulder, or he freaking punched a punching bag when we were at the gym, or uh, hip injuries, or a hamstring tear, or something that happened while he's pitching, like something you can't really say, oh, that was bad preparation. Like we're all professional athletes that have pretty good preparation, so it doesn't really lead us to injury if you have bad preparation. It more so leads you to like not being able to pitch well in the game that
And be
day
consistent. Yeah.
and be consistent. Yeah. Like, so I'd say staying healthy, not hard. You just have a freak injury that happens. Like that doesn't always stem from lack of preparation. that lack of preparation, however, will lead you to not pitching well.
Yeah,
If that
100%.
makes any sense.
Yeah, definitely. So I end every conversation with the same question. If you could go back and tell your younger self just one piece of advice regarding the mental game, whether it's you in high school or you just getting to the University of Oregon, what would it be?
I would the only thing I would say is I'd go back as far as I could, like
Mhm.
just to when I first started pitching and be like, and the most important thing, hey, the next pitch is the best pitch that you have. It's not your a 0-2 fastball or an 0-2 curveball. The next pitch is your best pitch. Believe that, and then you can't strike a guy out with one pitch on the first pitch of the at bat. You have to take the game one pitch at a time, one at bat at a time, one game at a time, and just focus on right here, right now.
Yeah, I
But
absolutely love
I
that.
would tell
And
myself that when I was like 12, like as early
yeah,
as I could.
yeah. And I mean, I bet the advice that you're saying right now is probably something you still need to hear at times.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
I also just want to say congratulations on the wedding. Really excited for that coming up. How
Thank
you
you.
feeling? You
Thank you.
excited?
Yeah. Super excited. I mean, 2 weeks now? Two
Yep.
weeks? Yeah. I still gotta write my vows. We just got a vow book today. We still gotta kind of go through our dance, like learn our first dance. It's not like choreographed professionally, but we're working on it. We wanna make it look good. We're performers.
100%. I'm excited to see it. Well, Hunter,
Excited to see
thank
you, man.
you. Yes, sir. Thank you for hopping on the podcast. This was awesome. And can't wait to see
No
you soon.
problem.
Thank you again to Hunter for sharing his journey and insight into the mental side of the game. If you enjoyed this conversation, make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who would find it valuable. Thanks for tuning in and keep moving forward. Until next time.